So if you look at how we run immigration policy, which I think is one of those programs, you know, it's a fascinating thing. Every time the Republicans threaten to close down the government, fascinating thing, the only branch that they have no effect on is immigration, because it's a fee-based organization. And while I'm a big believer that that's helpful in budget crisis, because what they're trying to close the government down is for really bad reasons, and they would hurt a lot of innocent people. I do think that within that pot of money, we have to figure out a way to provide some type of counsel to clear the backlog, right? So that we can get to a point where Haitian lawyers can take care of the problem at hand, as opposed to the problem that comes in today, but you've got still cases that are pending from 8 years ago, right? And then it creates this sort of backlog that is unsustainable. So I'm a believer that there are grants that are given from the Department of Justice or Homeland Security that could, the Homeland Security Department could be helpful in some of these issues, just to see them as providing counsel, right? Whether it's be through lawyer associations, which they've done it in the past, whether it be through branches of Catholic services. Well, I mean, they're just enough, and there are grants, you just haven't got enough money and resources put towards it. But here's the, you know, we see the fee-based many times. It's sort of like when they talk about immigrants, right? Immigrants are a huge drain on the economy. They don't tell you about all the taxes they're paying. They don't tell you that Social Security is balanced on the back of people who pay into phantom accounts, right? And so that's why there's money there. And so part of what you gain almost immediately by a process of making people pay their back taxes, pay a fine, get their documentation in, is that you create resources, and by the very fact that they are now legal to work, they of course then are paying taxes into the system, which of course benefits us all, and they become productive members of society as opposed to people who aren't. And so I'm a believer that we've got to look at it as a holistic picture. If you looked at Dade County, if you in South Florida, if you were to go forward in a program that legalized all the undocumented people, here's what I would know. I know that the migrant workers in Homestead would get paid more, right? Almost right off the bat, right? Salaries would go up. By the way, this isn't my statistics made up. If you look at when Ronald Reagan did immigration reform, middle class and working salaries immediately went up, because you're not competing against someone who's working for cash on the side or can't do it. So I think we've got to look at it in a more holistic way. I'm not a big believer of funding religious institutions through government, but there are enough associations, as you well know, affiliated with the Catholic Charities and everything, as well as with others who work in this area, where I think the resources would be.
Thank you. So I'll move on to the actual question I was supposed to ask. The Office of Refugee Resettlement provides refugees of special humanitarian concern entrance into our country, reflecting our core values and our tradition of being a safe haven for the oppressed. A refugee is defined as any person who is outside